Jack. So, what's going on this week?
Well, we have our first official special guest joining us this week. It is none other than Greg from the Web3 high-end, extremely important collection of PixelWooks.
Yeah, we had some technical difficulties getting everyone connected. So, I'm gonna let him introduce what PixelWoks is, and then I'm going to drop it back in when our conversation was nice and clear for everybody.
Rock and roll.
PixelWook started about a year ago. We're coming up on our 1 year anniversary, but it's an art project that aims to merge the jam band and Web3 communities. We've really just trying to build up a music community with shared interests where we can talk about what shows we're hitting and shows that we just seen and any upcoming performances, just anything we want to talk about. And we stream a lot of shows in our Discord server and just try to have fun and stick to the music. And yeah, it's been a lot of fun so far. We've networked with a lot of great other great projects, including FhanSets, and just trying to keep it rolling, have some fun.
About it, the day of the original mint, and we both jumped in, and I think that it's been an incredible, breath of fresh air and different type of, alternate side community to the one that we've all been a part of for quite some time. With, we all have very similar interests, and then our interest for Web3 on top of it, which is even cooler. Kind of gives it a whole new spice.
That's really been the best part, is just meeting both people that have been involved in PixelWooks and then also people that have started other projects like you guys, and then just random people that are involved in social media, meme accounts, things like that. And then and now as that grows, seeing them at shows, seeing them at planning events with them. We did that great Superfest event back in December during Fish Tour, which was a blast, and got to meet Jack in person. And it's just been that's kind of been the icing on the cake, getting to meet people in real life finally after talking with them on the internet for so long.
All right, here's the rest of our conversation with Greg. Enjoy.
Does anybody have a Pixelwook tattoo yet?
No, someone once said they were going to get one. It hasn't happened yet, but I hope it does. That would be huge. We did send
Wow.
a shirt to Australia, which was like a pretty big deal. That felt
Cool.
like that felt important. Yeah, no tattoos yet.
Hmm. I recently saw a thread in one of those Facebook groups, Fish Inc. And Fish Inc. is about posters, right? And they're like relatively very stringent about like how, like it's like the serious poster group on Facebook where like, if it's you post something that's not about posters, it's getting removed like right away. And somebody posted something that was about in that group about fish tattoos. And he's like, well, this is technically about Fish Inc. So, like, can everybody show off their fish tattoos? And it is a very entertaining thread.
Oh, I bet.
Like, the amount of
I can
people that
imagine.
posted pictures of fish tattoos is crazy.
Do
And
you
so,
remember like any of the cool ones that you saw?
oh yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. So there was one, let me think. There was a couple. So the first one that really caught my eye was of Trey, and it's like all green and yellow, and there's like a space, he's in space kind of holding his uh guitar over his head, like his like Jedi kind of thing that he does. And there's a spaceship above him that's like sending a beam down, and
Oh wow.
he's like attracted the spaceship, or the spaceship is like sucking him up. I'm not sure. It's uh there was another one. There was a bunch actually where like that like effect that some tattoos have where like your skin is ripped open and you can see like what's underneath. It's
No,
like a
but
very
okay.
so it's like some people have these like very high detailed tattoos where like like an animal like scratched their arm and there's like
Oh yeah,
gashes,
okay, yeah.
but you can see like like what's under the skin, and
Or
like
like
a number of
Terminator,
people.
like arms. Yeah.
Exactly,
Like they
exactly,
have
and
those decals on cars sometimes that look like the car was like in an accident or something, and has like
Right.
totally. And like,
Same vibe.
can you guess what people had underneath their skin?
The polka dots. The
Yes,
donuts,
the
I mean.
donuts. The donuts,
Yeah.
yes, like full donut design, like under the skin.
we're
That's
all
a
made
very
of donuts on the inside. Yeah.
that's a very
I knew
popular
someone
one.
with like I knew someone with the junta mouse, like that kind of mouse with a fishing rod. I knew that.
That's the
Yeah,
first
I knew
thing that
someone.
comes to my head. That's the first thing
yeah,
that
Yeah,
comes to
same.
mind.
that's
Like
probably like a classic.
yet I didn't see any in this thread.
Wow. Well, okay.
Yeah. A very popular, very, very popular, done like in many different ways by many different artists, was a bird of some sort,
A
likely
mockingbird.
supposed to be a mockingbird, holding, carrying, reading, flying near a book
Yeah.
that said, helping friendly book or read the book, usually, but not always, with a lizard dressed in armor close by.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Are these taking up like their whole backs? These are big, intricate tattoos.
There was some that were like full sleeve, like full leg, like I actually saw one year at the Man, and I stopped and took a picture of a guy who obviously wasn't wearing a shirt. Like this was his chance to not wear his shirt and to show off this full back tattoo of all four band members. Like
Wow.
real, like horrible photorealistic art, but like yes, all four band members, like
Like
Trey
that
in the
Big
top
Cypress
left,
T-shirt.
not even close to as good as that. Much large, much larger as well. Anyway,
It's got to be hard to like meet someone under those circumstances. Like, what happens like when you're finally getting intimate and you take off your shirt and she's like, What's on your back?"
Yeah, I feel you. Unless she's like,
You have to have that conversation to begin with, I guess.
she might have a lot of ink too. That's who they gravitate towards.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
There was
not gonna get a PixelWook tattoo, just so you
Aw,
know. But
That's
I have
fine.
10. I have.
You
I
don't
have
need
a
to
bunch of
decide right
ones.
now. You don't need to decide right now.
Yeah, yeah. I'm staying open-minded,
Stay
but
up exactly.
leaning now.
yeah.
Before we get into it, and I guess we've already sort of gotten into it, but I want to really commend you guys on this podcast because this takes a lot of balls, not only to start a podcast, but also just to the stuff you guys talk about. Like you said about the poster thread. As you know, fish fans take their fish very seriously, and you
Yeah.
guys cover a lot of like tough topics where and you're working off your mind here, right? You're live, so and you're referencing shows and you're talking about tape trading and technology and like all this stuff that people are gonna know about and comment on and criticize you about. Like it's great that you're able to talk about this stuff. Again, it takes a lot of balls.
Thank you, thank you.
I appreciate that. I mean, it's just two guys that love fish. I mean, we all, in our own way, laugh, or there's things we connect with. There's things that don't make sense to us. I mean, we're whether it's the rail, or whether it's the tarps, or whether it's whatever it is. Like everyone has their own perspective on these things. And when you look out in the audience and there's 18,000 people or 30,000 people, depending on where you are, there's
A lot of
different opinions on these things, and we're just
yeah.
we're just two guys, that like a good show, and we've been.
But like, what is a
We've been
good show, really, man? Like, what is it? What defines
every show.
good? No way. But speaking of which, I'll ask you both this question. What is your daily, like, most reliable or most interesting source for Fish's current events? Like, do you go to Facebook? Do you go to Twitter? Do you go to PT? Do you go to .net? Like, when you wanna, like, get the vibe of, like, what's going on today, what's everybody thinking, where's the funny things? Is it, like, Instagram memes? Like, because I don't spend a lot of time on Facebook, but it seems that every time I log in, it's like a lot of fish groups posting a lot of stuff that goes all over the place. And like I don't spend a lot of time on .net or PT, but I guess like Twitter I've spent more time on recently in the last year or two. Um, but they're all so different, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I would say Twitter's my number one spot, right? Because there's really a vibrant fish community on there. And there's Fish from the Road and the official account. So, if they're announcing a tour or whatever, there's all that stuff. And then there's all the, you can see snippets of people throw up from a show, or they'll throw something up even at set break and stuff. So Twitter for sure is like how I access the real time goings on. And then Instagram is where I
That's just
just
like dumb
love
memes.
fish Instagram. Yeah, it's the most hilarious memes. And I'll show them to my wife. We'll be like, look at this. This is so good. And she just like stares at me blankly because I love it so much. And the memes just like they hit so close to home. But if you haven't spent, decades in that, then maybe they're not as hilarious. And the other thing that I love about Instagram is there's some really great accounts that just throw up, on their stories, uh, video from like the day or the kind of week, right? Like depending on whatever they got, right? And I love, they'll throw up like a sick piece of a rebo. They'll throw up, they threw up some stuff from like the Greek the other day because it was like, that time. And I just love those because you just get these like they're little time capsules and like to see the video and you're just like I rock out to those a lot.
Yeah, that's always fun.
Yeah,
I
I
was
mean,
a big, I was a big,
go ahead.
I was a big .netter for a while.
Wow.
I still check it pretty frequently, but I don't post as much. Kind of since I started PixelWooks, but I always thought that they're always great for current events and also just like reviews of shows and all that sort of stuff. I can deep dive on that site for a while, and for the most part, I like the people on that site. I've met a lot of good people through that site, so and I think like Twitter's good for like instant things going on. Like if something gets announced or like there's a show going on, you'll get like instant feedback there. And again, Instagram's just your eye candy.
Yeah. But like what you've done with Discord, like personally, like that's one of the things that I check frequently just to like see because like that is like the people who are in the PixelWooks Discord are like very much in tune and keeping track of what's going on. And personally, like of all the apps, Discord to me seems like the most interactive personally with people actually having a conversation. Like Twitter's one thing, like you're replying to someone's tweet and then maybe they reply, but they see it, you know? It's just like and there is a larger community there, but there's just so many tweets that people are seeing on their timeline that it's like way less focused, right? Whereas like in Discord, if you're there and you're looking, you know exactly what you're there for and what you're talking about. So like me personally, I find that Discord has really made things much more like grassroots in a sense, you know, where you're like actually talking to people who are there for the same specific reason and there's nothing else flashing around and distracting you.
Yeah, it feels more like a conversation, I think, than like any of the other um, uh, programs. Any of
Yeah.
the other accounts. Um, Also, streaming's been huge. We're still kind of working out kinks and trying to provide like the best experience for people. But when there's a good show and we can get, 30, 40 people in there and strike up a good conversation about the show and watch it together,
Yeah.
that's kind of been the best like couch touring experience for me, where it's all usually like rather isolating and like I'm just on the couch by myself,
No,
watching the
I
show, which is
totally
like fun
agree.
too. But
Yeah, I mean, streaming a show in your Discord has allowed me to like really shill my opinions real quick to any to everybody that's listening and watching as well. And like for me living on the West Coast, like when a show is streaming, it's usually starting at like 4:30, 5 o'clock. And I'm not that is not the time of day where I can just be like sitting and watching a show on the couch. I have like an AirPod in and I'm playing it on my phone. And when something happens, I'm going in and interjecting in the chat. Just because like kids, dinner time, bath time, all those times that happen between 5 and 8 when it's basically the show is happening. And it's great. I'm really into streaming shows on the PixelWook's Discord.
yeah, it's hard. Like you said, East Coast, it's hard for the West Coast because the shows start really late,
Right.
and I'm not really like a night owl. I need my beauty sleep, and like even
Working.
tonight, I was like, I'll stream the Disco Biscuits, which are playing out in Colorado or somewhere, and the show doesn't start until 10, which means I'm not gonna stay up for that whole show, or much of it, or even the first set, but if something goes wrong with the stream, or I can't really control that because I'll be sleeping even if I just leave it on my computer. So there's a lot of challenges there too.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. I mean, couch tour for me has never really been like a thing, you know? I love fish and I like listening to fish, but I like listening to it like when I'm not distracted, you know? Like when I can actually listen to it, which isn't that often. It's like when I'm driving, when I'm like walking the dog, like those few times. Like if I'm sitting at home at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, watching it on the television, there is no peace, no no chance for concentration.
It'd be nice if,
And
if fish made it a little bit more affordable, so then you wouldn't feel like Goose Nugs just partnered with Goose to do their whole spring tour for Nugs subscribers. So if you pay, whatever it is, $15 a month to subscribe to Nugs, you can stream all those Goose shows, the whole tour, for what you were paying anyway. Whereas, Live Fish is what, like $20 a show or whatever it is. If you're tuning in and out, you're not going to pay that kind of money to watch the show. It's more of a commitment. So it'd be
yeah,
nice if they, especially if you're a Live Fish subscriber, they should just make all the shows free for you, or much more
Well,
for,
Nugs powers live fish. You never know. I'm sure these are conversations that are not happening in isolation. But I agree with you guys, because I have loved the opportunity to couch tour when there's an event, right? Like, let's say I want to catch a New Year's show, or when there's something that I'm just not going to make it out to, but I want to see it, right? I mean, it's incredible to have, but you're right. It's like a thing, I got to get it dialed in. You pay for it, you pull it up on the TV. You don't want anyone, it's like, this is what I'm going to be doing for the next 2.5 hours. So, like, I'll be here, it's like a whole thing. Whereas dipping in, being able to dip in and dip out definitely is cool.
Also, like now they stream pretty much every show, so it's
Yeah.
almost like exhausting to to be able to couch tour all the time, because because there's a show every night. Whereas like when they did like the dinner and a movies, those felt like really special, and you tuned in for those because it was only once a week and it was like a really unique experience. But when it's every night, you kind of don't feel like there's, I don't know, you like don't feel the pressure, but also do feel the pressure to listen every night.
Yeah, those
you
dinner and the
know,
movies were great.
Oh,
It
so
just felt like, it really felt, I don't know, kind of special and cozy, and like, I don't know, like, and everyone, there was the whole dinner angle, so they posted what everyone was doing. It was like, what a cool way I mean, it really illustrates how deep the community is, because like they were like, let's do dinner and a movie, and here's people from, well, all over the world, I guess, but connecting on a what, like it was a Tuesday, right?
Tuesday,
You
yeah.
know, and I just thought that was
People bought like big screens and put them outside and had campfires. Like it was so cool.
yeah, that was a pretty cool endeavor, and cool for them, like to see the response, right? I mean, I think that it was a great idea for them to have, but then to see how much the community engaged in that is like, that's pretty, I mean, imagine that's so rewarding. You're just like, wow, that's really cool that
It
people
also
are
just makes you
rallying
realize
around
like
it.
how much collateral like they have in their fall, how much music and video they have that is like not released yet and is just waiting to be seen.
Well, that's a really interesting point right there, because there is so much that I'm surprised how much footage they have, even from the old days. But even if we don't go back that far into the 90s, like what we're doing this with FanSets too, so we want to do something special with Big Cypress, and we haven't really complete we have a whole bunch of ideas, and we haven't narrowed down on one yet, but we want to do something special with Big Cypress, obviously. But like what does Fish do with Big Cypress, right? It's never been released, even in, it's never like, there's no video, there's no movie, there's no nothing.
But
Like,
that exists.
right. Like, that there's content. That for so many people that was really an extraordinary experience, right? I'm so curious. Like, there's a reason. There has to be a reason they haven't even put it out, like how they
Yeah.
did with the Gorge, or like, or
Clifford
um,
Ball DVDs, like
yeah, Clifford Ball. Exactly. They haven't done that yet, which leads me to believe like they could if they wanted to. So is there like a real reason why they haven't? Like, is there a reason to be excited? Like, are they want to make it special? I don't know. Like, I'm so curious about that in particular.
Fish has always been good about that though, right? Like just like waiting and waiting and waiting until like the anticipation and excitement builds up until like and then releasing it at a really opportune time and getting people excited. So maybe that's what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably an ace they got up their sleeve, that they're just
For sure.
letting simmer, and when the time arrives, I'm sure they'll drop it. It's not going to be hidden away forever, please, Iculus. you know Let it
Yeah.
loose. Maybe for their 40th anniversary,
Yeah.
Yeah. Oof.
maybe for their 50th.
Where do you guys do most of your listening now? Not Couch Tour, but like most of your just general consumption.
Like what program?
No, I mean, like, yeah, yeah, exactly. Like when you're gonna put Fish on, okay, like in the old days we had tapes, right? And that was the only way.
Yeah.
What do you do now?
I'm a live Fish subscriber. I used to stick with re-listen because I'm cheap, but um eventually I was like, I can afford this. And so I do split it with a friend, so it's not that expensive. I
Yeah.
still am cheap. But but it's great. I love having access to all those shows. I really like being able to listen to the show the next day, like the live shows, like especially the West Coast shows that I can't stay up for. Being able to hear, a crisp show the next day is worth it for me.
I agree. I mean, I still listen a lot on re-listen because I listen to a lot of 1.0 stuff. And there is a lot of 1.0 stuff on Live Fish, but there isn't everything. And I usually try to listen to like fish story, like what happened today, you know,
Yeah, that's fun.
and not not normally available on Live Fish unless I'm looking at 3.0 stuff. Like today, there's only one show that was ever played today, and it's like from '93 maybe, or earlier, and it's not even a complete recording. But I
Oh.
listened to it, and it was pretty crunchy.
Yeah, I did that a little bit with the winter '03 run because they just had the 20th anniversary of that. And I didn't always listen to complete shows, but I mean, what was nice about that is all those are on Live Fish without, without a problem, like that whole run.
Yeah.
So it was easy to listen to that, and I would just kind of listen to the highlights from each day.
I kind of talked about this a couple episodes ago, but I've been having fun with the live, with like the radio button in the Live Fish app in the upper left hand corner, which is just like the shuffle mix.
Yeah. The
because
randomizer, the randomizer, you guys coined it.
the randomizer. So like obviously, you're like, oh, like Jack, you said you like listening to Fish Theory, or I'll get an inspiration and be like, oh, I want to listen to like this or that, but really I'm working from my knowledge every time I do that, right? It's like, oh, on this day I know this, they played this in 98, I'll listen to that again or whatever. But the cool thing about the randomizer is I'm finding all these really cool nuggets that I wouldn't put, like the catalog's so deep, whether you're on re-listen or Live Fish, doesn't matter. It's like, what year? I don't know, any time in the last like you gotta, there's so many decisions have to be made. What year, what tour, what month, what day, what city, what set. You got to go all the way down. And the randomizer's been really surfacing some cool stuff for me. And you're right, Jack. It's definitely leans heavy 3.0. But the cool thing for me is like that's where personally a lot of my intimate knowledge in a weird way of shows is more fuzzy in 3.0. I was almost less active. I wasn't, for a whole bunch of reasons like family and stuff. I was like less connected. I wasn't on Twitter. We didn't have PixelWooks. We didn't have FanSets. Like I was super engaged in the community in my youth, and then loved catching a show when I didn't have to drive too far as I got older, just because of commitments and stuff, right? So the cool thing for me is like diving into, 15, 14, 17, these are years that tours would go by and I would not really be connected to the shows. So for me, it's actually kind of fun. But I know, Jack, those were some of your, you put in some serious work in that time. So
Yeah, I definitely I've hit a lot of shows in 3.0, but like to be completely honest, there have been very long stretches in the last 10 years where I don't listen to Fish at all when I'm not listening to them in person. And I don't know, it's just like phases, like I guess like in the years that I see them a lot, like I don't feel the need to hear either the shows that I've just seen or older shows, because that like itch has been scratched and I'm just listening to a lot of the Grateful Dead. But I usually find that like in the month or weeks leading up to when I'm going to see them live, I listen to it more. But like after I've seen them, I just like don't feel the need really to like scratch that itch, and I'm usually listening to other things. But we do have a pretty big Fish anniversary coming up, like right now. It's happening.
Which
25 years since the Island Tour.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You're right.
Did you guys do any of those shows?
No, unfortunately,
I did not.
It was.
I was only at 4/3/98. So
that was
I
a
guess
good one.
I was 17 at the time.
Wow.
Yeah. Wish I remembered more. I remember one of my friends got felt up by a guy, a friend, not like a stranger, at the show. And I remember one of my friends passed out during the show, and I had to be the like sucker that took her outside to like give her some fresh air and like make sure she was all right. And I missed like some loving cup or something like that.
Bummer.
Yeah, that's a bummer story. Yeah.
Yeah. No, but it was a great show. Great memories.
Yeah. It was I'm sure it'll be well celebrated on Twitter.
Yeah.
Coming up.
Yeah, I mean that was a great run for sure.
It really was.
98, everyone was so excited this fall, right, about 97, and even on there was podcasts like Under the Scales and stuff, they did that awesome awesome, awesome, where they just kind of dissected so many of those shows, which I thought was so interesting. And then, obviously in our own, Web3 fan community, we had spaces and we got excited about those shows too. I wonder, like, obviously 97 is so celebrated, but like 98 was just this, it was so good. I wonder, are we gonna be as excited as we get into summer and fall 98, or what do you think, Jay?
I don't think there will be as much fervor as there was for 97, because like even before the 25th anniversary of, fall 97, it has always been regarded as like the apex tour
Yeah.
of 1.0, right? Like there was obviously some other moments, some other, runs that have high esteem, but like fall 97, the Cowfunk era, is when like the sound evolved into what they'd been working towards. A lot of people, I'm no expert, and there's lots of, people talking about it, but I personally think that it holds the highest regard for a reason. That cowbell was just getting a lot of danging,
Yeah.
and some of the things that came out of it were just extremely special. And every year has special moments, and that's what's great about Fish. We've talked about it, where it's like you never know what you're going to get, and that's why people are going to see them hundreds of times, because every night has the potential for something that you will never forget. It doesn't always happen, but every night it can happen, and that, I think, is one of the biggest draws that this band has, is that you never know when they're going to come out of left field and pull something that you could have never anticipated, right?
Yeah,
Totally. What do we think's going to happen at? Do we think anything fun's going to happen at MSG this summer?
yeah, it's kind of an interesting point. Like, I do believe that this wasn't what they originally planned. I don't know this for a fact, but like it seems like they had a bigger idea for MSG and like had to, I don't know, cut the number of shows in half or whatever it was. So now it's kind of turned into like this 7 night run, which I think will still be great, but it'll be interesting to see if they do any sort of theme like the Baker's Dozen, or just they'll be like normal, a normal 7 night run.
I mean, when they announced the Baker's Dozen, the theme and obviously the concept for the whole thing was already baked. No pun intended, but like with the intro video and obviously the tickets and all that stuff. I don't, I'm not reading into. I don't know what there is to read
There's
into
been
it
no
this
hints
summer.
so far.
Right? Exactly. And like, I guess, are you alluding to like the Sweet 16 situation? Is that what you mean? Like how there was
Yeah, there were a lot of rumors
yeah.
there were rumors about that, and then I think it was even like bigger than that to start with. But yeah, I think then Sweet 16, I think then they were dropping it down to 13, and then somehow it ended up being 7. Even it's weird that like the Sunday night of the second weekend, there's no show, you know.
Which is kind of annoying. I wish there was. There must be something else scheduled that night. I haven't checked, but like having just two shows that weekend makes it a little bit of less of a draw to come from further away.
I know there were originally rumors that like Billy Joel being in the middle of it kind of messed them up. But I just always thought that there was going to be like a Billy Joel drop in and
Play some
something.
covers.
Yeah, play some Billy Joel songs. Piano Man.
We didn't start the
Where's
fire with Fish singing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
where's your favorite place to catch a show, Greg?
Good question. Unfortunately, I've always stuck to the East Coast. The farthest west I've been is Cincinnati. I did go to Miami for the New Year's run in 03. But most of my fishing has been done around here. I mean, I love being outdoors. I did a bunch of the festivals, Lemon Wheel and Oswego and it and all those. Like I love being outdoors and in nature. Um, I went with friends even to like uh, Albany in 2018, and like it was beautiful up there in the fall. The venue wasn't great, but like it was just nice. Kind of, we went hiking during the day and like camped out at night, and that was a lot of fun. Um, but I guess favorite venues. I don't know. I mean, I know SPAC gets a lot of shit, but like I've always enjoyed SPAC. I really enjoyed going to Bethel this summer. I thought that was like a beautiful venue and like a cool area to be in.
Mm,
I don't really have like one venue. I mean, I've seen most of my shows at MSG just because it's close by and they play there all the time. But I don't
Yeah.
think there's like one venue that really sticks out to me.
I mean, personally, if I could have Fish play in Indio, California every year, that would be ideal
I mean,
because
it just seems
that
like
is,
as we get older, the closer Fish plays to us, it always
yeah.
ends up being the best venue.
I mean, I am an extreme advocate of them playing at the Coachella fairgrounds or whatever they call it because if you like seeing fish outdoors, there's in all the places I've ever seen them outdoors, there's nothing like that. You know,
Yeah,
like the Gorge, Alpine Valley, SPAC, Dick's, like all these outdoor venues that they frequent, and all the amphitheaters on the East Coast and in the South and Midwest, Deer Creek, like Indio, it was just felt the cleanest, the smoothest, like just like what is Fish doing here? It's too clean.
yeah. Yeah, I didn't unfortunately I didn't make it to Magna Ball because I was having a kid around that time. But that was supposed to Watkins Glen was supposed to be a beautiful venue, and that festival, gets a lot of hype.
Yeah, I was at Magnaball. It was great.
Yeah.
It really was. It was nice. Like the area is nice. It's a very like you feel like you're in like America when you're there. You know, you're on like a speedway. There's like I'm Canadian, so like I can say that. Like I was like in America, and like there was like corner stores selling a lot of beer, and like just people out on the streets enjoying their summer and like in the outskirts of town. It was fun.
It's always fun going to new places and just kind of exploring different areas that you never been to before.
100%. Like I remember on a whim, like going to Orange Beach. I
mm.
was like, let's just do it. Let's go. And I'd never been to that part of the world before, and it was awesome. Like that was America. It was it was just like what do they call that place? Like what's there's like a nickname for that area. It's like the Riviera or something of the South or something like that. I can't remember what it's called. Anyway, it really was like the beach, the water, the roadside bars, like everything was just like, not Fish, but everybody there was just like having the best time because it was hot and it was near the ocean and like the venue was small and people were drinking a lot of beer and it was good. And I've seen a bunch of shows in the South, and it's always a fun crowd down there. You know,
You know what I thought of when you were talking about that was more when they go down to Mexico and and there's other people like that booked their vacation for that same week. I remember you were just talking about like oh Fish, it's like obviously is a certain scene and then like it seems out of place in certain places, I guess maybe. But man, like I just remember being down in Mexico that one year and just being like, I feel so bad for all of these people that are here for their 1 week, in the sun from whatever wintry place that they've come, and half of this hotel is taken over with just wookery, you know?
Oh, and just like the things that are going on during the day at the
In the
pool.
pool,
Like,
yeah.
I couldn't imagine being there with like my little kids. I mean, I would love it and, know what to expect if I brought my kids to Mexico. But like a good old wholesome family that's like down in Mexico for their,
Yeah,
annual
spring
vacation,
break,
and
whatever.
all of a sudden they are just like exposed to just like the ultimate mind bending and visual. I mean, it would probably be scary,
It's
Kids
weird
It
they
would
would
don't make
be.
it
Of course
more.
it would.
It's weird they don't make it more isolating. Like, just put everyone, just block off 1 or 2 hotels or however many you need, and like put everyone in there.
I mean,
right?
it's so well known now at that, Moon Palace that that they throw show because it's not just fish, right? I mean, it doesn't so many people. That's where Playing in the Sand is. Did
Yeah,
Widespread do something down there? I mean, there's all
yeah.
sort, and
Even like
I'm
Dark
sure
Star
there's a whole bunch of
Orchestra and like,
country. Yeah, there's so much that goes on there. So at this point in time, it's kind of like I feel like if you just Googled the resort as you were assessing places to go, you might come across the fact that there's a giant permanent stage, and maybe are currently at risk of
yeah.
there being a show on. But that first year, I mean, again, I don't have the history, so maybe they always threw shows at that other place that whatever it was called. What was that place called? The first
Marcello?
year, the Barcello. Yeah, I just really feel like, at least for me, it was so novel, and so I just like invented in my mind that it was the first time they'd ever had a show there. And there was all these, regular vacationers that just got descended upon. Anyway, have you ever been down to Mexico, Greg?
Not for fish.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I meant for fish. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's great. Like,
Oh, I'm sure it's great. I mean, not only do you get like a
sunny.
ridiculous vacation out of it, but then you get to see your favorite band for 4 nights. It's got to be wild.
Yeah, and your hotel room's like, you can walk. It's just like so accessible, right? Like your accommodation is right there. You're on the beach. You're in the water, and I know that from year to year, there's some, the water situation always seems to be changing. But at least the time I went, you're in the water. It's your favorite band, and during the day you just hang out. It's beautiful, sunny,
So
Yeah,
good.
you just like
cerveza,
recover like laying on the beach. Last
go in the
year,
pool, have a snack. Like it's amazing.
yeah.
It's so sad to think that like I feel like I will never experience that. Like I will never see fish in Mexico. And like, or even like I'll probably never go to like Red Rocks or the Gorge. It like sucks to think that.
Well, don't think that.
I know, but it's
Manifest it.
it's hard to do these things, as you
No,
get
Yeah,
older and
I
other
feel you.
responsibilities.
I feel you.
totally.
And hopefully these guys keep going until their fingers fall off.
Yeah.
You know? What do you think? Like, you think they're just gonna like push it until they physically can't do it anymore? I hope so.
I hope so.
Or
Let's
do you
just
think
hope
that
so.
like their like mentality is like, when they can't perform to the level that they're probably expected to perform, they'll just like call it quits.
You love speculating about this.
I mean,
I do.
Trey's definitely not slowing down. That guy can't stop working.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I see such a zest for life and zest for what they're doing that like, and the fact that, and by that I mean that there was, let's be honest, there was a point in time when, people said, if I have to play You Enjoy Myself the rest of my life, like, whatever, right? And so that was a different vibe, right? But like now I see exactly to your point, Greg. Like he's got such a zest. He just keeps going. As soon as Fish stops, he's on Tab Tour. As soon as Tab Tours has 2 days off, he's on he's on Goose Tour.
When there's no tour, he's like in his apartment with like spoons and buckets, like making music. The guy can't
Yeah,
stop.
he can't stop. And I think that because they've changed and morphed. So I mean, their whole ethos is evolution, right? I mean, and we can find the joy in the evolution, and we can also, have nostalgic, views on certain times or eras, or wish they played, analog more, like whatever the thing is, right? But like in no uncertain terms, these guys are always evolving, and they're not scared to. And so I don't see this as being like, the Who Arena Rock Tour where they play like the same set every night and they just get like shuttled from city to city, you know, into the future, obviously, right? I could see them legitimately continuing to morph, continuing to change and evolve. Maybe their fingers aren't as fast as they used to be. That, like, right? Or whatever it is. But they just seem to be able to adapt, and they seem to be like open-minded to it. And I think change has really rewarded them along the way. And they've come to like appreciate, like Fish tries everything and like half of it falls flat and half of it works. And like that's been so much of the magic, right? And maybe I'm just being optimistic, I could see them continuing to evolve, and just figure out what a band is when you're 70, or what a band, like that's cool.
Well, we know a couple of guys who are still playing in their 70s, right?
Right.
Bob Weir's never going to stop.
Exactly. Right. And, he's got a good crew out there,
Yeah.
Yeah, I always wonder, like, how like everyone shits on like 90s Dead. I kind of wonder, like, at what point are we in 90s Dead with Fish, or like, how do you, I don't know. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
I do,
and at
yeah.
some points in the 3-point era, I've thought that we were in 90s Dead. But then they come back around and they just blow my fucking mind.
Yeah.
Like,
and particularly 4.0, I think has been so interesting, right? Like
there's still so much potential in every show. I mean, I've seen like 7 shows this year. It's all been, or not this year, last year, and they were all incredible. They were all so much fun.
Yeah, I mean, every show.
I don't want to stop. If Trey doesn't want to stop, I don't want to stop.
Yeah, please keep going. But like, say one of them does want to stop. Like, there's so many variables. There's 4 guys, right? And like, without all 4 of them on the wagon, then it's not going to happen, right? It'll be some other iteration of, Fish and Co. Or which,
yeah,
like,
that would be a hard loss if if one of them wasn't involved anymore. That would change things up a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like to think about it.
You can't just replace a member like that.
Who do you think is the most expendable?
No, dude.
I can't pick one. It's hard.
I hate this morbid curiosity around it. Exactly. You can't. It's not. It doesn't work like that. It's 4 people.
Yeah.
You can't separate them out. That's like one of the very interesting. I think one of the most interesting things is that it's like they're inextricable from each other, I think, but I'm highly biased.
Yeah, we can.
You guys are excited? You guys got some shows coming up in a few weeks.
Oh my God. It's like dreams come true. I was talking about this already. It's like the same when we got that Hollywood Bowl announcement, it was literally like back in 2008 when they were like, you know what? We're going to come back. You guys get excited. We're coming back. You haven't seen us in a really long time, and we're going to play at this incredible venue. It's the same feeling I got when that happened.
Love it.
Because like them playing at the Hollywood Bowl is dreams.
It's a pretty magical place. It just sounds great, feels great, is great. I can't wait.
Yeah. I mean, and it's like the closest venue to my house.
Well, and we're getting 3 nights, which just like 3 nights is the right amount of nights because you're guaranteed you're gonna get it all,
Yeah.
In the way that like a 1 night stresses me out. 2 nights is like you better do 2 because but 3, I feel so like it's zero stress. 3 shows. It's like I'm gonna get some serious fish.
Yeah,
And be so
faces.
satisfied afterwards. Like be
They have-
completely satiated.
They have never done a 3-night LA run before.
Mm.
Never. They've done 2, rarely, but they've never done 3. Yeah, sure, they'll play like San Diego, LA, Santa Barbara, but that's not the same place,
No.
you know? Like they played 13 nights in a row, MSG. You know, LA's a
Yeah.
we finally get 3. Well, woo-wee. I can't wait. It is I hope it lives up to the hype. And they play Antelope.
Yeah. We're gonna get an Antelope.
I think that's
3
safe to
nights.
say.
You think we're gonna get an Antelope? I hope they don't play it at the Greek.
Are you going? Wait, we already talked about that. You're not gonna go to the Greek.
I mean, you never know what could happen. It's highly unlikely that I'm going to go to the Greek, and if I do, it would be for one night. And like, which one night? The first night? Because like, then if I'm there for the first night, am I going to want to stay for the second night?
Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
it's tough.
Mhm.
It's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough.
And like, I just need to, you know, in my old age, I need to save my energy for the 3 nights at the Hollywood Bowl. I don't want to, you know, blow it too early.
Yeah. Totally.
Because that can happen. You know, if you want one of Jack's tips, you don't want to blow too early. You don't
There
wanna,
is so
you know,
many.
As Jack always said.
as Jack always says, the first night is the warm up. Get your legs about you. Save it for the
There's
second
so
night.
many good memes on Instagram in particular about like
I'm
you
gonna
know
take it
like
easy the first night.
or like 1.0 hours, you know, like whatever it is, right? Like 1.0 hours on the 3rd night of a run, like just like whatever, you know, if it's like the House of Dragons like show or like whatever it is, right? People,
All right.
they always had. There was one the other day that was hilarious. Some of those guys are just so creative, but yeah. I mean, it's yeah. You definitely we don't have the steam we used to. You know.
I mean, the only drawback to them playing at the Hollywood Bowl, and you've emphasized your excitement about sleeping in your own bed, but like I kind of look at it as I'm sleeping in my own bed, but so are my kids.
Right.
You know?
Yeah,
Like
you have to be on it.
they're there at like 7 in the morning.
Yeah.
Or 6 even when it's like Saturday morning, Sunday morning,
When you're still
even
sleepy.
yeah, Monday morning, you know, when it's like time
Yeah,
to
that
get
Monday's
ready.
gonna be the toughest one.
Oh, that Monday's gonna be a real rough one. Drink a lot of water. That's another one of Jack's tips. Drink a lot of water.
Yeah, stay
Good
hydrated.
tips. Good tip.
Stay hydrated.
Yeah.
We
So,
can leave it at that.
do we want to touch
Yeah.
on, Jack, a little bit what some of our, we might have a little bit of a, what do we call it?
PhanSets
book claim?
collab.
Collab? Yeah, we've collabed in the past on a couple things, but this might be one for the books. Maybe.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, it's really gonna hit for everyone who holds a Wook. You know, they are going to be treated like royalty
Yeah,
PhanSets
we're gonna
royalty.
or
we're
celebrities.
gonna release some more tapes, get them out there, get the sets out, and the top of the tape tree is Wook holders. We won't give too much away. We'll let everyone know on Twitter exactly what's happening and when. But the more Wooks you hold, the more you shall be able to claim.
That's the teaser?
Is that a good teaser?
Yeah, I think it's a good teaser if you're a Wook holder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you're not a Wook holder, then what is a better time than right now to go and get one?
So we can
good things to happen.
This is public knowledge now. We can let people know that Wook holders are gonna double down on PhanSets if
we're gonna start building the hype.
And if you've been listening until now, and you are not a Wook holder.
What are you waiting
are
for?
a Wook, so shouldn't you be a PixelWook holder? Like it's time, man.
Yeah.
You've come this far, so join the club.
Yeah.
Floor's low,
Cool, guys.
vibes are high. Thank you guys for having me. This is awesome. I could chat with you guys all day.